what up? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Ajiona. We are locked in BMF season 2. Yes, this is exactly what we've been waiting on. I will say you can tell that the acting has definitely improved from season 1. Season 1 was great, but now we know who the characters are. We're about to see them turn from the 50 boys to BMF and actually begin to take off and see Meech and Terry run through the streets of Detroit and actually expand across the nation. That's what we all here for, to see BMF. Now, before we jump into this and break it down, if you like BMF content, breakdowns, theories, and predictions, live after show discussions, hit your subscribe button and turn on your notification bell so you get something every time I upload. Make sure you hit that like button and follow me on Instagram right here. Now, we pick up where we left off. Meech and Terry, they're going their separate ways. Terry is trying to get his sedan business up and running, and Meech, well, he's looking for a new plug, a new connect, to try to get BMF up and running. So let's jump into it. This is episode 1, the recap.
You blowing money fast on this side. I think I'm Big Meech.
They jump ahead to 2005 and we see Terry, and you hear that Terry and Meech, they're doing their own things, but he actually has his people with him and he gets locked up at this point. So it's just showing us what to look forward to in the future, because we all know what the outcome of BMF was. Unfortunately, they both went to prison, but we're just seeing Terry's side of it, and you're going to hear him narrating a lot throughout this episode, kind of giving his perspective of what was going on. And as you can see, Detective Bryant was still looking to try to bring them down, even in 2005, all the way from the late 80s. We see Meech getting 2 bricks taped to him to take back to Detroit because we know he's working, needs a new connect. Now, this gentleman, Earl, is actually showing him the game and all the players around the United States that come together doing All-Star weekend, Super Bowl weekend, and they flex, showing the money that they're making, and it's just a respect amongst each other. So now, Meech is starting to see all the top players, and he knows exactly where he wants to be. Meech needs to get back to Detroit, and at this time, TSA wasn't really what it is today, but they started implementing drug dogs. Meech seen a dog, so instead of getting on the plane and potentially getting arrested, he decides to take a bus back home. A little bit longer, but also a little bit safer. As I mentioned, we know that Terry and his father Charles are trying to start a sedan business. We see Terry coming in here trying to get his driver's license, but unfortunately he doesn't get it because him and his boy Roland, they're joking around, and the test instructor takes the test and only grades it for what he's done. And of course he wasn't finished, so there's no license for our man Terry. Charles and Lucille, they're both still on different spectrums. We know that Lucille, she's working at Wendy's. She's been working doubles, trying to keep this money. Charles has been laid off. Charles is back at work. Him and his son, they're trying to get a sedan business up and running. And he's always promising to do bigger and better things for Lucille. But unfortunately, the money isn't running in like that. Now, Lucille knows, and she's being realistic, knowing I need to get back to work, because right now, all Charles is doing is fantasizing. He also has a console, a TV console on layaway. Even though there's no money coming in, Charles gotta have that TV. At the precinct, we get a briefing from Detective Brian. He's basically telling us that Kato and Lamar were both killed. Now we get introduced into a new character, Detective Veronica, who's gonna be tagging along with Detective Brian. Now, what we see from her is she's gonna be the one that takes this job serious, and she's gonna be trying to figure out who committed what crimes, how they did it, when they did it, and where they are currently. Now, Detective Bryant, we know he's worked with Meech a little bit, so he's saying, I don't need a partner. I'm more of doing this by myself. I don't need to babysit anyone. But this partnership might be something that he actually needs moving forward. We start to see a little bit more of Markeisha this season, and she came to a basketball game that Terry and Meech were both at. Meech is with B. Mickey, Terry is with his boy Roland, and Markeisha caught his eye, and everyone's like, y'all know that's Boom's wife. Leave that woman alone. Now, Boom is the guy that we seen at Pat's party in season 1. Meech and Terry still haven't really been talking to each other. They're brothers, they got that connection, but you know how it is. They don't hate each other, they just aren't talking. But Meech, he has bigger plans. Remember, he just came back with those bricks. He needs to go talk to K9 to figure out how we gonna get these in the streets, and will you be my plug moving forward so I don't have to go out there and tape it up to myself to bring that work back. Now, K9 is really moving things throughout the streets. He won the basketball game. Meech is about to go give him 2 of those bricks that he brought back, But in the midst of all of this, K9 gets into an argument with the other coach and he ends up killing them. Everyone disperses. Meech hops in the car with him and they get out of there. So it's a crazy day in Detroit. We went from getting a driver's license to a basketball game to a shooting. As I was mentioning, it's been a long day. So once Terry gets back to his parents' house, we find out that Wanda is back in town with his son. And he's like, wow, I didn't know you were going to be here. Because remember, they had their disagreement. She wants him out the game. At that point, he was still working with Meech trying to figure things out. So all of this has caught him off guard. But Terry is glad to see his child. And of course, the only thing you hear from Charles is, you got that driver's license? Good. Now I can take your mama to the chop house. We can get us some nice steak. Ooh, it's going to be lovely. But you hear Lucille and you can look at Lucille's expressions. She's not worried about that chop house. She's worried about the bills in the house. Brian and Veronica, they're getting to know each other. Now we're getting her background story on how she misses being in the streets. She wanted to come back on the police force to actually work. Where her and her sister lived, it wasn't like that. She remembers the days of being in Chinatown and actually cracking down on the violence, especially because this is her community. So now Detective Brian is saying, it's not all what it's cracked up to be out here. And it's actually pretty dangerous and I have things under control. Now, what we do see is him looking around. And what do they stumble across? It's B. Mickey. Now, there's been some speculations about him, and some of those allegations and speculations come to light in this episode. Detective Brian has a close eye on B. Mickey. We finally get down into some business with K9. Now, K9 is meeting with a Colombian, and he's talking bad to him, basically saying, I don't need you. Everything that you're doing, it sounds good, but it's not working for me. K9 has big aspirations too. K9, to the appearance, seems like he's one of the biggest things in Detroit. So he tells the Colombian to get out of here and tells Meech to come on over and have a conversation with him. Meech brings him to work, and then he explains that there were drug dogs at the airport in Vegas. K9 already knew that. But what he's telling Meech is, it's not about how much money you make, how much work you move. It's about the bonds you build. Now, if you can make a connection with somebody and you guys have an understanding and the work can come in, the money can go out, then the relationship is going to work. The bond is the most important thing that you can build when you're in this game. K9 is giving out free game to Meech. Well, it's not really free because Meech risked his life going to Vegas to bring those back. But Big L comes in. I told you K9 is moving some things through Detroit. Big L, she was also moving things, but she didn't want to work with Meech, only work with Terry. Now she's saying she's met Meech, but they never did any work. Once she leaves, you hear Meech say, she just didn't like my flashiness. So right now, she's a rival to Meech. K9, business. Rival to Meech. Lucille is worried about the business of taking care of the household. Charles, he's trying to wake up and get him a little early morning something, but she's like, no, I gotta go to work. So Charles has to go to sleep. Tough times, man, but that console is 18 payments away from being paid off. We also see a little bit of background from Detective Bryant. We see his son. Now his son, he draws comic books, anime, all kinds of different art, does a pretty good job, has a superhero shirt on. Now, it seems like he's getting picked on at school because Brian is saying, hey, don't be wearing that shirt there because he doesn't want his kids picked on. He's saying your dad is a cop, so that's a real hero right there. But the artwork is good, and you got to understand, this is the late 80s. This isn't the 2000s, the 2020s that we're in now. Things were a little bit different. You got bullied at school for simple things, such as having a superhero on your t-shirt, even if it is the superhero you drew. But Detective Bryant, he's looking out for his son and also making sure that the streets are safe, somewhat. 50 Boys in 12th Street never seen eye to eye. We seen the whole first season of the little war between them two with Meech versus Lamar. Well, Meech is ahead of himself and ahead of his time. He's thinking, let's bring everyone together. We got that bad apple Lamar out the way. So if 12th Street and 50 Boys come together, pool our resources, we can actually take off and make something happen, and everyone can get money and not have to worry about anybody. Because Meech heard from K9, it's not about how much money and how much dope you get. It's about the bonds and loyalty, the things you can't see, smell, or touch. Markeisha caught our boy Terry's eye, so when he goes to get insurance for the sedan company, guess who he runs in? Markeisha. Now he's trying to shoot his shot here. She's trying to keep it professional. She was at the game. She had a personal escort. She sells insurance Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. Now, she's not trying to hear nothing that Terry's talking about because he said, man, I used to work for Pat. I was a top earner. She's like, hey, not here. This isn't the place. I work on commission. So fill this paperwork out and I will get back to you. Now, Terry, he's going to continue to do his thing, shoot his shot. I recommend bringing some people here, get you some customers for that commission, but call me. She's like, no, Terry, I won't. Thank you for the paperwork. The unlikely duo that we weren't expecting, Veronica, Bryant, this might actually take off and work. Now, you remember the other night when they were cruising together, we seen that Detective Bryant had an interest in B. Mickey. Now, at his house, he had an extra gun from B. Mickey. These two, they're talking, they're getting closer, and who do they run into? B. Mickey and Dink. Now, they get to running away from the cops because, you know, you got to. They got a bag of money on them. Unfortunately, Dink is hit by Veronica in the car, knocks his tooth out, and they confiscate a bag of money. So it's not looking too good for the 50 boys right now because all the money is gone. Now, B. Mickey has to report this to Meech. He's telling Meech, look, Dink got locked up with the money. The green is gone, but Dink ain't gonna tell. And we said that the speculations about B. Mickey have been coming to the light, and this has everyone wondering, is Mickey working with the police? So now they don't have money. They got to be fronted somewhere to work. And Meech is thinking, how can I do this? Just be himself. Meech is going to use this charm to go talk to K9 to see if he can finagle his way into the business to be able to get a connect. Because you heard 12th Street. 12th Street said, you don't have no work. We can't work with you. So it's up to Meech to be able to make this happen in order to make 50 boys, 12th Street come together to be BMF. It's game time. Meech goes over to K9. He gets him a nice steak. And K9 is asking him questions. Does he know what a point guard is? Being able to see everybody, knowing who to pass the ball to, who to tell move this way, move that way in order to win the game. Now, K9, he's like, if Big L wouldn't work with you, why should I? Of course, we know what Meech said. She just didn't like the flashiness. Now, K9 is giving out Rolexes to all of this crew. Meech isn't all the way in the crew yet, but what he does give him is a box. And inside of that box is Big L's lips. Now, if people, they start to go against you, you're going to have to make them feel your wrath. Now, he got rid of Big L because Big L talked too much. This is a good thing for Meech and Terry, even though Terry's not in the game. He was the one that was connected with Big L. This is good for Meech because he hasn't had to worry out for her. Terry's driving the sedan. He picks up Meech. He didn't know it was Meech, but he needs this money. Now, Meech is clowning him for how much he's making, about $50 a day, $10 a pop for drives. And Meech is saying, look, I potentially got us a connect with K9. We good. And with me and you out there, we make magic. Nothing goes wrong when it's you and I. But Terry, he's looking at the game and he's thinking, I want to get out of it. And Meech is like, come on, brother. Terry, come work with me, man. And you know how that influence can be from your older sibling, because Terry isn't getting any money. He used to get a lot of money. And now he sees Meech got a pocket full of money. It's kind of tempting. It's the family Sunday dinner. Miss Mabel came over. Wanda's here. Everyone's having a good time. Now, Lucille, on the other hand, she sees her daughter with some lip gloss and she doesn't like it. Now, we know that Nikki is growing up. She's in that almost teenage year. She's becoming herself. She got a little lip gloss on. Lucille doesn't like that in the house. She slaps her and then tells her to go get a chair for Meech. And of course, Charles doesn't want Meech over at the house, but it is what it is. Everyone wanted to know what happened to Lamar. Did he actually die? Well, Detective Bryant told us he died in the briefing earlier in the episode. Come to find out, he's in a coma and they have him under a different name. So when he wakes up, if he wakes up, he can tell them who shot him. The meeting with K9 went good. We got 20 bricks. We got a box with some lips. And now we got to take these 20 bricks back to the 50th Street boys, back to 12th Street. Come together and let them know if we all work together, we can all have cars. We can all have houses. We can all have girls. We could all travel. We can all eat together as a family. Black Mafia family officially formed with these 20 bricks that Meech got from K9. Back at the family dinner, Terry has a lot on his mind. His brother just called him a broke ass nigga. His mom actually set him up to get him out the game by bringing Wanda back. Now, the reason Wanda got sent off to Pennsylvania is because Lucille wanted Terry to potentially leave with her to get out of the game. Because we know Meech, he's in the game. He even tried to give his mom $100 at Wendy's. She didn't take it. Now, this all caught Terry off guard. He just thought Wanda was coming back because of him. In reality, it was all a setup. So Terry, he storms out the house. Without Terry in the picture, B. Mickey is Meech's right-hand man. He's getting a little shaky though. He sees that they just got 20 bricks and he's telling Meech, hey, look, I gotta go and make sure that my mom is good. She's alive. And of course, Meech is concerned because he treats B. Mickey's mother like it's his mother. We all do that. Lucille, she treats B. Mickey like a son whenever he's around. That's just how it is. They say it takes a village. So we're looking at B. Mickey thinking, we just got 20 bricks. You got to take care of your mom. What's really going on here? Well, it turns out he's been working directly with Detective Brian. Detective Brian is in his house, the same basement that him and Kato were in, the same basement that Lamar broke into. And he's saying, hey, look, what about this woman right here? You're supposed to turn her in to me, but you ended up killing her and you were sleeping with her. Now, B. Mickey tells him Terry is out the game. Meech is doing it by himself. He's taking care of his mom. Now, Detective Bryant does have B. Mickey's other gun, so it's a little bit of blackmailing, but he did tell us, you were supposed to give me Kato, but I want something bigger than that, plus you killed Kato. So Mickey is actually working with the police. And the last thing we see is Lamar waking up on that bed. So season 2 is about to be wild, because when Lamar gets up and out this hospital, you already know he's coming for Meech, Terry, B. Mickey. It don't matter. He's not stopping until he can get to Meech. There you go, episode 1 of BMF season 2. Let me know what you think about this episode. This thing is about to get crazy. I definitely like the way the production went. The acting has actually stepped up. They're going to give us a good season 2. We've been waiting a whole year for it, and it's finally here. Let me know what you think about it. What do you think about Lamar coming back, B. Mickey working with the cops, Terry trying to get out the game and in this damn business, Meech getting a new plug and starting BMF? Let me know what you think. Make sure you tune in tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern, for the live after show discussion for episode 1. We're going to go in depth. If you like this kind of content, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching. I'm out.